Cristo, $1 million question for you. If you were to buy a Lego Bricklink Designer set, would you A, keep it sealed and invest in it, or B, open it and enjoy the Lego set? 30 seconds on the clock. The answer is to you. Well, it might take a little bit of 30 seconds to accumulate that answer, and that is going to be the topic of today's video. And of course, I'm going to try and give you the pros and the cons of both of those answers. The answers to that question. But again, I am not going to be able to make that decision for you who is watching that. I can simply state the facts and kind of my general thoughts and my own opinions on whether it's worth it or not. So if that interests you, because I promise this is a very interesting topic, stick around, hit that subscribe button, or smash the YouTube algorithm by liking this video, and let's jump straight on into it. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Cristo. I was never on Will You Be a Millionaire and answer any very hard questions, but I'm pretty sure this is a very hard question to answer, and I thought it'd be a really fun video to take a deep dive, and you guys also recommended we answer this in today's video on one of our previous videos where we went over some of the Bricklink Designer sets. And for some of you, you might be saying, Cristo, what the frick is Bricklink Designer's program, and what the heck is investing, and why would you hold a Lego set in the box? Why would you not build it? Well, lucky for you, we're going to be talking about all of that. So let's jump straight on into it, ladies and gentlemen, because we are officially, at time of recording, 16 days away from crowdfunding Series 1 Bricklink Designer Program. And it's pretty fun. It's pretty exciting. I'm not going to go super in depth talking about in all 5 of the sets that are going to be releasing because I will go ahead and link that video in the end of this video because we already talked about that. And it's pretty exciting to say the least. But in today's video, we are going to be saying, should we buy these Lego Bricklink Designer sets? Should we keep them in the box like this one right here? Or should we buy them and build them and enjoy them, as we've done with like the Studgate train station? That's just an example that I've bought and built. So let's go ahead and first take a look at some numbers, because currently I found this website called Brick Economy where they kind of showcase each Lego set and for the most part are pretty close to the current values of what they are going for and selling for. Of course, if you hopped on eBay and were to look at, the Studgate train station, you might be able to find one that sold for less than this $663. Or even on the contrary, you might be able to find one that sold for more than this $663. But for the most part, I think it's a pretty good analytic website that we could look at, because I felt like it was probably one of the most accurate comparing it to just looking at a bunch of eBay listings. But of course, we can do that as well. So let's take a look and start looking at some of the older ones, because for those of you who don't know, we officially had, I think it was now 4 Bricklink Designer programs already be, no, it was 3, because there's 15 sets on the market. So 15 sets were made from the Bricklink Designer Program here in the last couple of years. Now, I know we had some previous year sets, but for now, we're just going to totally exclude those because I wasn't in the hobby, and I'm not counting that as a metric. I'm counting the last 2 years when we started seeing the Bricklink Designer Program kick back up. So calling out one of the first waves we had, it was one of the most popular in the aspect of it was popular after the fact that nobody could get them. They had originally planned for 5,000 copies of these Lego sets to be made, and one of them, for example, was the Castle in the Forest, which was actually the first one to sell out. Selling out in, I believe it was like 22 to 30 minutes, somewhere in that ballpark. It went very quick. It was actually really cool to see. I never ordered this one, but I watched it live, had the chance to, and I really was keeping my cash aside and kind of just seeing where it would go. But I watched the bar go all the way from 0 all the way to 5,000 very fast, and it was a very exciting time. And that one was kind of the Lego's first scenario where they were like, Bricklink Designer Program is back. And right after that, you were able to order 5 sets per account. And you're probably thinking, well, that's not fair. I just started doing this 2 years ago, right? A year ago. And I was only to get 1 copy per account. Well, yeah, like I said, that has changed. You were able to get 5 copies per account. So a lot of people got all 5. And turns out they made a pretty penny, considering it retailed for $180. And the value, actually, right after it sold out, was going for $1,000 plus. But it's kind of calmed down a little bit, and the actual selling price point consistently in the last, year or so has been 163%. So if you're bad at math, like myself, that's 1.6 times your money, right? So if you spent $100 on this set, you were able to get, what is that, $260 back? I think that's quick math. See, like I said, I'm bad at math. But anyways, 1.6x your money. So with an annual growth of 38%. And always comparing this back to the U.S. stock market, right, in an S&P 500, where you're expected to get returns of around 10% per year. This absolutely almost quadruples that number. So I think it's worthwhile to say this Bricklink Designer Program is something that has our eyes like beaming, like it's glowing, right? So this was one of the first examples of keeping it sealed in the box and then selling it for a profit, right? And I think it would have made sense to sell this set right away if you were to get it, just because the hype around it was just super focused on this set. Now, if you waited 3 years now later, you actually lost money from when you were able to sell it at that $1,000 plus price point, which is absolutely crazy. You still made money at the end of the day, but it's something to think about. Now, if you go ahead and went and opened this Lego castle in the forest, one, you got to enjoy it, right? Absolutely. Did it lose value? And checking on some of the eBay prices, it truthfully is around, $200 still as a used Lego set, which is absolutely awesome to think about. And like that set, it also had 4 other sets that were produced in that crowdfunding round. The other one was going to be the Great Fishing Boat. This one retailed for $130, and its current value is $284, proving a over 119% gain on a sealed Lego set. That's bananas. That's freaking crazy. The next one, I don't remember if the cockapoo, I think that was a different round. The other one was the Sheriff Safe. This one retailed for $50 and is currently at a price of $118 at 135% gains with an annual growth of 23%. Again, another substantially crazy price. And if we go down the list, guys, I know I don't want to go through every single one of these. Every single one of these is worth more than you were able to buy it for. And I think that's pretty crazy to say. It's like, okay, Cristo, I'm guaranteed to, make money on these Lego sets if I were to buy them. And I think the reason I'm making this video is because that changes a little bit. And that changes this year, unfortunately. And that's not to say that, these sets are not going to make you money. They might. I'm not going to be the Debbie Downer here and say you're not going to make money. However, there's something to consider. So those, like I said, had a 10,000 copies production being made. Now, Bricklink Designer Program for this year, that is going to be here in a few weeks, 2 weeks or so, they upped the numbers. So it was originally going to be 20,000 copies of the Lego set to be made, but now they upped it to 30,000 copies. And that's a significant difference considering the first wave was 10,000 copies in production. So you can see this is a lot more of a limited set than for example, the old train shed is going to be. Now, one thing also to kind of note to help mitigate this is you are going to be limited to 2 copies per account. So that's something else to consider. Like when the Lego Modular Store dropped out, you were only limited to 1 copy. So the way to get other copies would you had to have multiple accounts, and that's going down the list. That just becomes a little bit, it takes a certain amount of people and makes it even less people that would do that, right? It's like I'm not going through all that hassle. I'm just going to get my one account and 1 set. The Lego Modular Store proves to be the absolute best, which in me is surprising, but the best return as far as a Lego set. And I think it makes sense on the Bricklink Designer Program because we haven't seen a Lego store modular, and this one was done, I would say, pretty well, but it was a lot smaller than I kind of would have hoped. It came with 2,100 pieces, and it came with a $180 retail price point. The current value is around $550 with a growth of 205% or 30% annual growth. And I think that's absolutely crazy, right? Like, that's just crazy. It's crazy. That's the highest growth Lego Bricklink Designer Program, and that is a great one. The highest priced one is the modular construction site. It retailed for $320 and has a value of $674, with aka 110% growth. So it over doubled your money. Now, the worst performing one was the Mountain View Observatory, which retailed for $320 and is valued at $436. And I thought it was a really cool set. It just didn't seem to be as popular, with a low growth of 36%. And it's like, okay, that came out last year, right? That was sold last year, and you still, at this time is worth more than what you bought it, and that's the worst option. So I think that's an interesting aspect. Now, I wouldn't feel too alarmed on building these sets. Like, Creoso, you're probably like, okay, well, Creoso, you just convinced me. Like, I'm buying out the whole wave, and I'm keeping them, I'm investing in them, I'm selling them. And that's not the point of today's video. The point of today's video is to say, should you hold them and sell them? Which statistically, as we've gone through the 15 sets that were made in the last 3 years, it's proven that, of course, they've escalated in price and they are worth more than you were able to attain them. Now, like I said, bringing in some of the external factors here of there's going to be more sets being produced. Therefore, the prices and the increase in growth, I would imagine, are not as substantial in comparison to the ones we've seen. Just because it's going to be a less limited item. And that's not to say we don't have a situation like the Lego Store Modular, right? Maybe the Mountain Fortress is the key of the heart, and it's extremely popular, and it becomes triple in price. I don't know the hype, and we don't know the hype, but I think it would be safe to say, considering Lego's just made a 90-year anniversary castle, that demand is not going to be as high because, yeah, this is a really cool castle, but we already have a really cool castle, so it's going to be the diehard fans that really want it. And I still think that's great, and I still think this set's going to perform well. I actually am going to pick up a copy for myself and to build. Maybe it's the Parisian Street where it's like, oh, we just love this set and it just escalates in price. I don't know that, and I don't think anyone else does unless you can see the future. If you do see the future, let me know. I have to give you some money because I have some questions to ask about my life. But nobody can predict a market, right? And that's the cold hard truth. Not myself, not any other YouTuber, not any specialist, professional, whatever it may be. That is the cold hard truth. But anyways, going back to what I was saying, should you just build the Lego set? And I think this is a great example because the old train engine shed is an example that for me, I want to buy 2 copies and I don't even want to hold and invest in them and maybe sell them for, triple X profit later on. I want to buy these and build these. Now, with the production being at 30,000, I still think this set will sell out, and I have no questions being around that. I think it's going to be an extremely popular set, just because I know there's a very large train community. The same thing with the Castle and Fantasy era. There's a huge Fantasy era and Castle-themed fans, so I think this one will sell out as well. But going back to the train shed, I think this would look amazing in my new Lego city that I'm building in my new house. And I'm going to spend the money of $230 and buy and enjoy and build these here on the channel with you guys and share my experience. Now, if you were to invest in it, all props to you. I think you'll probably do well in the long run. Now, one other thing to consider that I wanted to bring forward to your attention was the prices of these. These are a lot higher in price, in my opinion. Like when we looked at the, the Lego Store Modular, this was 2150 pieces. So almost, let's call it 2,100 pieces with 6 minifigures, and it retailed for $180. So essentially, you're getting over the 10 cents price per piece ratio. Whereas we look at the old train shed at $230, this one comes with 2,300 parts. Now you're probably thinking, Cristo, that's just one example. All right, let's go to the Mountain Fortress. This has 3,900 pieces for $380. You're right around that 10 cents price per piece ratio. I actually don't know how many minifigs are in this one. Maybe there's a boatload more minifigs. But anyways, the moral of the story is prices have increased, making it more difficult to have gains on these Lego sets. And I think that's a key takeaway when you're buying these, because we're not going to be able to get these for Lego deals. I know a huge focus on this channel is getting Lego sales and deals. This is a limited item. We are unable to get Lego deals on this, except for the fact that we're getting it from Lego.com, essentially. So you will get your insider rewards points. So that's something to keep in mind. As prices increase, it takes away the opportunity for a long relationship of getting gains. But that's some food for thought. I think those are some really interesting points. I didn't answer the actual question of should you invest or should you buy. I gave you some hard, concrete examples of both sides, and I think I did a fairly well with this video. I really thought about this for quite some time before I was going to make it. Definitely hit my key points, and I'm really happy to hear what you guys think of this video. I encourage you to give me feedback. I really enjoyed making this one. I love that you guys were interested in this topic. I love the Bricklink Designer Program. I've had numerous people in the Bricklink Designer Program and even the Lego Ideas platform reach out to me like, hey, would you be open to making a video on my set? And I just think it's so awesome, and I love seeing the community grow like that, at least in my aspect. So if you want to see more videos on Bricklink Designer Program, you want to learn more about it, or even the Lego Ideas side of it, let me know in the comments below and let me know the videos you'd want to see, and I will be sure to make them because I am truly passionate about this and I really, really enjoy it. Now, again, this is a Lego set that I'm currently invested in. I have one copy right here, and I actually don't plan to build this because I have the modular downtown diner, which is a modular I really enjoy. I still think this is a really cool set, but since I have the diner, I think it just makes sense for me to sell this one off. maybe take the profit of 100% gain, you know, make an extra $100 and use it on one of these cool Bricklink sets that I'm gonna enjoy and build. So anyways, guys, that's gonna wrap it up. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you don't know me, my name's Cristo from Stud City, and we'll see you in the next one. Love you guys. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, journey to 100K, and like this video. Peace out, guys.